Okay.
As you know, whether it's Park Slope, whether it's Williamsburg, whether it's Greenpoint, gentrification, particularly in Brooklyn, is a huge problem. Huge, as Bernie would say. So, if you can shed some light, as Mr. Rob Furlong has asked, what does gentrification look like in your district?
Oh man, gentrification looks like the people. This was a majority. It's still majority black, but this community was built in large part by the Caribbean diaspora. My father came right here to Central Brooklyn. My father came to a few blocks away from where I live now in 1970 from Jamaica and helped build this community. Gentrification looks like developers pushing out the poor black people to the margins and off the map, buying up whole swaths of neighborhoods, building them up, raising the prices on them that make them totally unaffordable for the people who built these communities and invested in these communities to begin with. So who can move into those communities? Well, we already know black and brown people have lower incomes because of systematic racism. So who can move into the previous black community is only white people who can afford it. And the few smattering of black people and Hispanic folks that can afford it. But that's why you can go into Bushwick right now in Bed-Stuy and you see the three harbingers of gentrification. You see a Starbucks, you see a Chipotle, and you see a Whole Foods. If those three things come in your neighborhood, they're no longer affordable for working people. And they're right down there by the Barclays Center, right damn now. That's what gentrification looked like. Instead, we need a home ownership program paid for by the federal government for people who make less than $50,000, make less than $80,000, a guaranteed home loan. Because we all know that home ownership is one of the rungs on the ladder of success. That would break the cycle of generational poverty if people could pass down their homes. Because right now, a home in New York City is worth $1 million. Imagine if you had 50,000 more black people who own their homes in New York City who could pass them down. They could pass down $50 million to their children and grandchildren and break that cycle of generational wealth. Because we all know black people, and if you're sad of hearing this, then do something about it. Help me.
I'm not sad of hearing it. I think
exactly.
I care.
So
I
ask yourself,
reparations.
why is it easier for a black person to walk into? I can get a $200,000 school loan like that. Go try to get a house loan for the same amount. They're gonna turn your ass down. Why is that? They will load you with debt for an education. Go try to get a small business loan. Now you have no idea about college. So you can't say, well, if you can't walk into a bank without a prospectus, you can walk into a classroom as a freshman, green, and not know a damn thing, and be saddled with $250,000 worth of debt. They expect you to pay it because our system is not geared toward working people and low-income people and poor people. It's geared toward the rich to help them stay rich. I'm going off on a tangent, but let's go back to housing. We need federally funded co-op programs. We need community land trust programs. We need New York City Housing Authority is owed $60 billion from the federal government. Why the hell isn't my representative beating the drums about that right now? We have lead in our water. We have lead in our pipes. We have rodent infestations. What is going on? We have the highest rates of asthma some places in any place in the country. Right here, down the street from my apartment. Why is that possible? How does that happen in a city with more billionaires than any place in the world? How does that happen when we have a $1.3 trillion GDP in this state? How is that possible? That's possible because the powers that be don't give a damn. Because obviously what we have been doing for the last 50, 60, 100 years has not been working for poor people and low-income people at all.
No, and this is one of the big sticking points with Cuomo that has come up many, many times about the fact that he will not implement a wealth tax. And this is something that is getting a lot of juice in New York. So, one can only hope, and I could tell you personally as a Brooklyn Nets fan and having, been to the Barclays Center a number of times, it's very interesting how, you kind of have to go down one of the scenic route blocks away from the arena to get to the mom and pop restaurants, whether it's, there's like a really good vegan,
vegan.
There's a great Middle Eastern falafel place that's around the corner from the Barclays Center that I love. But to the person who is getting off of the subway, they don't know about that. The only thing they know is the primary complex and everything. When I tell you the Barclays Center complex is nothing but gentrification and big box stores. That's it. Now, if you venture down a block or two, you will find stuff, but most people will not do that. They will get what's right in front of them. And what's right in front of them, as Isaiah said, Chipotle, Subway. You may have a New York City pizza spot. That's about it. But everything else is big box, nothing unique to New York City. And that, in many ways, is gentrification. And I think
it's assimilation.
It is.
Oh my God, that's so, you know what? That's like here.
For the biggest,
we're strip mall after strip mall, big store, super center after super center.
And nothing
against pop stores, bodegas are delis are the lifeblood of New York City. If you've ever been to Brooklyn or Queens or Manhattan, certain parts of Manhattan, you will know, like you can walk down the avenue. I live by Flatbush Avenue. And that's where the Barclays Center is at. Once you get down past the library, that's when the gentrification explodes. That's not even mid Brooklyn. That's lower Manhattan. I call that now, because those apartments down there out of Barclays, they're crazy expensive. $3,700 a month just to even live there. The people who built that community, as I said, if you grew up there, raised your family there, worked there your whole life, paying taxes, and all these families they're pushed out. They're going down to North Carolina, they're going down to Georgia, they're going to South Carolina, they're going to PA because they can't afford to live in the city anymore. They can't. And we see that the rich folks, when the pandemic hit, they just all bolted and got the hell out of here to their second vacation home. So what happens to the working class? What happens to the poor? You talked about the vegan spot, the mom and pop vegan spot. Is it even there anymore because of the pandemic? Can we even go there anymore? I mean, so it's almost like I'm saying, well, I am saying the same thing over and over, because it's like nobody is hearing us. Nobody is doing these things, and we're not reinventing the wheel talking about putting a man on the moon or putting a man on Mars. We're talking about basic things that other countries have already figured out for the last 50 years. Why is it so hard for America to do it? And what's the one determining factor is that we have money in politics. That's it. That's the thing that doesn't allow us to do it. It's not the people. There's black people, white people, gay, straight, lesbian, in all walks of life and in groups of politics. But the thing that separates our country from other countries is the deluge of political cash that is thrown at these politicians by corporate donors and corporations.
I do think that the change is happening. It happens not as quickly as we'd like it to happen, but I do think New York is ground zero in many ways, because we have seen the impact that AOC, Jamal, and Mondir have already had on the city. And it's inspired a lot of other people to, pick up the reins and get involved. Obviously, several of the brand new Congress slate mates were from New York City. We have a question here from the Snake Hat, who wants to know, because he lives in District 7, which I think that might be Staten Island.
You're looking at me like I know.
I don't know. I think District 7.
No, that's Nydia Velasquez. That is that's Sunset Park. That's where my wife was born at.
So that's very close. Yeah, and obviously
it's the next district over. The 9th is right here. The 7th starts right there.
So he would like to know how he can get more involved in local politics, and obviously your race is an important one. So I'm going to put your website in here for people to come and sign up. What is your website?
Isiah for Congress, ISIAH for Congress, FOR Congress.com.
So for anybody who wants to sign up and get involved.
And
any recommendations on how to start? You live in New York 7 that says, I want to be more active in local politics. There are tons of races going on right now. Tons of races. Matter of fact, the Snake Hat, go to Isiah for Congress on Twitter and DM me. Me and you'll have a conversation tonight.
There you go. You can get like a one-on-one follow-up with your next door neighbor, future congressperson.
Just DM me and we'll talk tonight. Trust me, I know tons of folks who are running that could use your help.
There you go. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.